Hello, speaking is Ruth Kenner. This is my studio, Get Quilts Done. I changed the name some while ago because that's the challenge that I'm always giving myself, not only to make beautiful things and try to get my technique moved. Why is it that I don't get enough done, that I don't utilize it? And so now it's January 2020, so why not at the beginning of the first month of the year to talk about planners and planning what we're going to do, and also talking about a mistake that I made when I was planning out and how I'm going to try to fix it this year. Last time I talked about utilizing our time, I talked about the Zeigarnik effect. And basically that is don't be afraid to stop something in the middle, or don't be afraid to start something. If you know that you're going to have to start it in the middle, you'll still go right in and do it, and also take notes. So this year I had an issue with what I was going to do for planners. And the reason is I basically started using a journal, a bullet journal that has little dots on it. And before that, I used a separate journal, and this is just for my finances. That's why we have it open on a page, that there's no writing. Of course, it's private. But I started finding myself writing more and more of my quilting on this journal, because my journal for quilting wasn't, my planner for quilting just didn't work. And I already had, so I wanted to buy another bullet journal and separate for that. And I already have a regular journal that I use for everything. Of course, I write in dates on my planning for quilts, so I know what I'm going to be doing, but this isn't set up for my schedule for what I'm going to be sewing, or sometimes I do crochet, but mostly just for sewing and making art quilts. So I already have a separate one, and I thought, well, am I going to buy the planner and then buy another bullet journal? And I didn't really know what to do. Plus the journal, though I really loved it, I'd like it to be smaller, but it wasn't a game changer. So what I do is this is my regular journal. It goes from it happens to be in Hebrew, but it goes from a right to left instead of left to right. So I do, and it does start on Sunday to Saturday. I did want the journal to be Sunday to Saturday, but again, that wasn't the game changer. The big deal is it wasn't a lot of the journal I was using, but not all of it. But then, I think her name is Stephanie. She came out with a journal that was smaller, and she also came out with a journal that basically you decide what you're going to do. So if I were to give you an idea how I work, this is basically it. It's this week's, and here it is. This is something extra I bought, so it has something in centimeters along with meters that she sells, and you stick on, it's my thing. But if you get really close here, you can see that this is a bullet journal. And what I do is I have the days, and I have a little corner here. Sometimes I fit them all into this page. And this is a page for taking notes. I'm also ordering online sticky notes that are bigger that I could add to it if I need to. So, and this is just for Saturday, Friday night and Saturday that I put in there so I remember what the times are. I haven't written those in yet for this week. But basically, you could order graph paper. You can order the classic planner where it's columns or it's rows, or graph paper or bullet journaling. I can't believe she did this. It was like she made you custom make it. And I know it's already January, but it's kind of late to buy it, but if she still has some on sale, it's really worthwhile. If not, I really recommend it next year. I can't imagine her going backwards now that she's offered such a great plan. So however you like to work, this is a really good idea. What I love about it is it's got everything together. And why that's important to me is I set up journals for each quilt, and I lose them, and I walk around the house with it. Having them all together is incredible. We have a little bit of patterns. She talks about the designers with the little magazine that she gets with it. But here we have a whole section just for ideas. And you can see page after page just for ideas. I love that. We've got another section just for ideas that I have just for videos in the back. We have projects at a glance. Maybe another video I'm going to talk a little bit about why I don't have this page whole full. I'm against that. I think we're overwhelming ourselves. I think I might have mentioned it before. I have a little section for YouTube, and then we have each section, and I'm getting sticky notes that I can add on to this. So I really like that. I love the journal. We've got my projects, more idea savers, and then we have great reference. Again, no reason to go online, no reason to look through my books. Basic reference for basic things to do. Saves a load of time. So for planning, I have, and more idea savers. So and she's got this nice little pocket in the back. So like I said, this was just when I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to look for another journal, how I'm gonna work. She came along and came up with a really great idea. And for those of you who aren't clear with bullet journal, go ahead and look up ideas. I find it's really good for taking notes when I quilt. And the Quilters Planner magazine comes with it. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the sampler this year, and I am. My idea is, along with doing art quilts, is to start doing more things for the home. And sampler quilts, I've already done one for 1 year. So what were the mistakes that I made for planning time, and I'm changing how I work? I usually have one quilt where I just pour everything into it, and whenever it's done, it's done. Time is not an issue. I will do more and more on it. If I think, I don't just throw away time and just make it harder on myself, but if the design works, I'll do it, even if it takes more time. This quilt is a queen size art quilt. It's for my son. I don't like laying the whole thing out, but you can see that it took a lot of time. If my husband brings in the camera, please, you can see right here, you can see all the tiny, tiny little stitches and very densely quilted. A lot of extra things went on in here, like these are twisted threads. So I took a lot. I knew I was going to finish this quilt this year. I knew it was going to take a lot of time. If I wanted to get something else done, I would do it, but I had to decide where to put preferences. And that's where I made a lot of mistakes. And that's why I didn't finish. This is from 2018, the sampler quilt that I did with the Quilters Planner. You can see that's why I didn't do it, because I didn't associate time correctly. Now, one of the things that I've learned a long time ago is there's a difference between perfection and excellence. I cannot get perfection. It's just not going to happen. We are not computers, and I'm not cutting things in a perfect way. Nobody can, but there is excellence. So there's this particular level. But I don't want to go down in excellence. Not perfection, excellence. In order to do that, I have to pick patterns that are simpler. So when I quilt this, for instance, it will be a bigger stitch and not as densely quilted, and it works for that. It'll still be excellent. I will still do as well as I can do without it. But where did I make a mistake? This is from 2019. This is going to go to my granddaughter. It's for her big girl's bed, and I know I can't wait to give it to her. I know I'm not going to quilt it really densely, but here's the mistake. I love the way it came out, but I didn't plan correctly. What did I do? I went to the store and I fell in love with this material. Okay, and really, I just fell in love with it, and I did the whole quilt around it. So what's the mistake? This has an obvious pattern. And since this has a big background of pieces you can see here, I wouldn't be able to use the obvious pattern. So I'd have to break it up, break up the smaller patterns, fussy cut everything so you don't feel the obvious pattern. What I should have done is bought some, based it on this, and bought other types of black and white and made it scrappy. And therefore, it wouldn't have taken an extra 2 weeks. I literally put hours into this, and I didn't get other things done. And it's not that my granddaughter's worth it. Of course she is, but I only have a certain amount of time. So when I picked this out, I should have stepped back and decided how to do it. So I have to plan better. I only have so much time. And it still would be very pretty, even though I do like the way it came out, and I will be quilting it. And let me just stick this over here. And then there's the other piece. I make, for myself, I have this idea of a sidekick, I call it. I make quilts that I quilt along with some big project I'm quilting. And I also do practice pieces. And that way I get a small piece for the home. This is a table, going to be a table runner. So what did I do? I went online, I went to my computer and designed this. It is 5 blocks of 8 inches. Half squares, very simple to do, voila. Knew I wanted to use black and white material. Then, when I was done, I decided that I couldn't find any of my material that I wanted to use that stretched the whole length. And I decided not to piece it, to do it. Why not? Nobody would see it. Yet I decided to do it. So I had to spend a whole day doing something I love doing, auditioning fabrics. I love doing it, but I had to spend hours doing it and hours cleaning up the mess. And I don't mind doing either of those things, but that's not what I wanted to do with my time. So I didn't plan. What I should have done is either decide to piece it, and I didn't realize it until afterwards, or when I was designing it, knowing I wanted it to be simply done, I should have made if I would have checked my fabrics and picked this out, I would have made this 7 inches, 8 blocks, done this, and made this background larger. And then I have control over my time as much as could be without, other things going on. But those are the mistakes I made. And so this coming year, like I said, the Zeigarnik, I think it's pronounced the Zeigarnik effect, I've put into practice. This year, I'm putting into my practice how much time it takes. What relative to do something. Do I want to put in the extra time, or do I have to plan the patterns ahead of time? Or plan how much material I have ahead of time? Is there another quilt that's going to take up more time, so I have to, and so either I sacrifice not getting as much done, or do I want to simplify a project? And those are all really important things, and hopefully this year I'll have more control over it, so I'll be able to sew some clothes, crochet a blanket, or just get more art quilts done. That's time management for the next year. Those are my goals. So I hope this was helpful. And signing off for now, and let's have a great year.